Welcome back to another episode of Pest Control Millionaire. I feel like we've been gone for a few weeks, so my apologies, but I was down in Florida, Patrick Bet-David conference, and then got my appendix out, so put me behind a little bit. But without further ado, we have a stud of a guy on here today. I'm really excited about this one. As usual, everyone that's on here is doing big things. Met James, what was that, about a month ago maybe now?
Yeah, a little bit less than, yeah.
I think he's our second Canadian ever on the podcast. So that's pretty dope. We have James Szojka here. He's from Dawgs, and they're out of, where are you guys at? Calgary, right?
Yeah, Calgary, Alberta.
Yeah.
Just north of Montana.
I have a lot of questions around the whole Canada thing because I know they have like certain things you can and can't do, but we chatted about that a little bit. But yeah, it's a pleasure to have you on the podcast. I love what you're doing. I love everything you're about. And we met at a Simple Growth Mastermind group in Iowa a couple weeks ago. I went straight to James, like, I'm going to talk to this kid.
Well, dude, thank you so much for having me on the podcast. I love doing these. I think us and Turf Badger have a lot in common, which is really cool to see. And yeah, we've been doing this for a decade now. So over the past 10 years, made a lot of mistakes, but I've figured out a couple things too. And I'm really excited to kind of do a bit of a deep dive on, in particular, the lawn care side of things. So we do lawn treatments here in Canada. So we are exclusively a fertilizer weed control company. Don't do any grass cutting, no spring cleanups, none of that stuff. But we really just focus on making lawns green, healthy, and weed-free in Calgary, Alberta. Got some big expansion plans for 2025 that I can talk about a little bit later. But right now, Calgary, Alberta, about 1.2 million people. And just give some people context, we take care of about 5,000 residential customers a year. That's
awesome. When you first got into the industry, were you doing lawn care then, like mowing and everything, or just strictly was it fertilizer from day one?
Oh, dude, no. When we started first year in business, I was 19 years old, finished first year at university, looked at my tuition bill and said, oh, crap, I got to do something about this. So I got invited to this thing called, it was this group that gave you a machine called an aerator. And the deal was you go door to door with this machine and you'll do the work, you'll sell the job and everything, and you'll get a 30% commission. And I remember thinking to myself, okay, sounds pretty cool. I guess this thing kind of does something good for the lawn. But if I'm doing all the sales, all the marketing, all the sales, I kind of want 100% commission. The only thing stopping me from doing that is getting my own machine, which I ended up doing. They were $2,700 Canadian at the time. I realize they're a lot more now. But I called up my best friend, Liam, and I said, hey, man, what are you doing this summer? He's like, probably working at McDonald's, you? I'm like, well, there's this thing called an aerator. I don't know what it does. Don't really know how to do it, but I know people will pay like $50, $60 a house to do it. Do you just want to buy this machine, go door to door? And he's like, hell yeah, let's do it. And that's literally how JNL Lawn Care started. So we weren't always Dawgs, as JNL Lawn Care, James and Liam Lawn Care. That name changed after 4 days because we were doing a job. The way we got the system down is that Liam would do the work and I'd go 3-4 houses in advance just trying to sell the next job so we can keep going. And the one girl we were doing for, I was talking to her. She's like, hey, James, thank you so much for the great work that you're doing. I'm like, yeah, yes, you're very welcome. Thank you for hiring us. And she says, no, but James, thank you. This is so great what you're doing. I appreciate it so much. And I'm like, yeah, it's no worries. Thank you for paying us. But she was persistent. Like, she was like, yo, good. By the way, good for you. You obviously had a hard start in life, but you're really making the most out of things and taking the bull by the horns. I'm like, what are you talking about? And then she's like, JNL Lawn Care, jail lawn care. You guys are ex-convicts, right? From jail? I'm like, no, like not even close to that. Is that actually the impression you get? And so we're driving away from that job and I'm like, man, if she thinks that, everybody thinks that. We got to change the name. That's where Dawgs were born.
That's so awesome. What made you come up with the Dawgs?
No, we were just having I think Liam and myself were having a beer with his mom that night. And we were someone said yard, someone said dogs, and Dawgs was born. But we did every services to start, man. Like, we were going door to door. And what people liked about us, first and foremost, is that we were showing up on time. We were wearing clean uniforms. We didn't have a cigarette hanging out of our mouth, swearing every third word. We were professional, young, ambitious guys. People liked that. And they right away started to ask, do you do other services? So, like, do you do power raking, for example? And when somebody's offering you money when you first start out, you say yes. And then they'll say, how much? And you kind of say a price. And they say, when can you do it? And you say tomorrow. And then we'd go home on YouTube, what is power raking? Because I just told this guy I'm doing it for him tomorrow at 10:30. Oh, shoot. Okay, it's this machine that rakes the lawn very quick. Oh, man, those machines are $3,000. Oh, but on Kijiji, there's one for $1,500. Oh, but it's 3 hours away. Oh, let's just go right now. But it's 11 p.m. Just call them anyways. Like, that's how and then we get home to my parents' place at 3 a.m., crank the machine, do a quick test run, and then we're there tomorrow at 10:30, do it for $130 like we said we would. that is how our business started 10 years ago.
I love that. That's how most of us start, right?
It does. But you know what? It can get pretty hectic very quick. So we were a jack of all trades to start off, just doing anything for anything. Like if you needed your leaves cleaned, your gutters were like gutters cleaned, leaf cleanup. If you needed your toilet scrubbed 45 minutes away, I'd be there in 50. Like we were doing anything under the sun, but it was getting chaotic. And like we didn't know if we were making money because we couldn't track things because we had so many different lines on our P&L. We didn't even know what a P&L was, mind you. We were just kind of doing things. And we were students. We were young. We had nothing to lose. So we could just take the time to figure those things out. But 5 years in, I was now getting married. Liam had a serious girlfriend. We had both graduated school. I did business. He did engineering. And we're like, okay, this Yard Dogs thing, should we actually do this? Or like, should we go get a quote unquote real job like our parents want? I'm like, you know what? Let's just give it 1 year, full time, full commitment, and see what happens. But we got to pick a niche. I know you Americans say niche, but I say niche. We got to pick something that we can get really, really good at, that we can be the best at. Where's our highest profit margins? What can we be the best at? And where is the least amount of competition? And we determined, based on everything that we were doing, what we could see, it was making lawns green, healthy, and weed-free. So fertilizer, weed control, aerating, seeding, and soil enhancements. Those were the 5 services in particular. We were the Yard Dogs, so we put together 3 custom packages named after dogs: the Pomeranian, the Golden Retriever, and the Saint Bernard. The smaller the dog, the smaller the package. The bigger the dog, the bigger the package. Give people season-long fertilizer and unlimited weed control services throughout them. And we built a brand that focuses on, hey, I want to be the best at making lawns green, healthy, and weed-free. And when you see our Yard Dogs dog bonus sign on your lawn, we're not cleaning up leaves, not doing spring cleanups, but that lawn looks like a golf course. And let's dial in on doing that. And 5 years later, 5,000 customers here, and we're hoping to 5 times our size within 5 years.
I'm excited to watch you guys do that because I know how ambitious you are, and I know you'll pull it off for sure. So if you haven't heard about GorillaDesk yet, it's a super sick software. It's actually made by one of my really close friends, Chris Mareshi. So Chris built GorillaDesk to help streamline his own personal business over 10 years ago. But now GorillaDesk is used by over 4,000 companies. And today it's become one of the most premier platforms in our industry. So what's really unique about GorillaDesk is that it's a simple all-in-one solution that's really easy for your team to use. GorillaDesk offers a seamless onboard experience and best-in-class support with no additional cost. It's all included in your subscription. Inside the software, you'll find a whole suite of features: scheduling, invoicing, routing, and sales pipelines, integrated VoIP, text messaging, and pretty much all the automation you're going to need, and much, much more. So if you guys are still relying on paper or spreadsheets or fighting with an old software, I highly recommend that you guys check out GorillaDesk. So we have a link in our description. Click on that and it'll take you right to their free trial. Now let's get back to the show. How do you make that transition from, doing everything to say, hey, we're just going to stop doing everything and focus on this thing? Did you join a mastermind group? Did someone just say, hey, like, what are you guys doing? Did you get a mentor? What happened there? Where does the light bulb click?
I found, 2 things happened. One is we weren't happy with how much we were working, how little money we were making. So there was a desire to change, like working 10, 12-hour days, 6, 7 days a week, answering the phone on Sundays because you had to get that next job sort of thing too. Driving me crazy. And like the bank account wasn't growing. It was really frustrating. And like we felt we wanted to quit like 1,000 times. So first of all, there was a crisis. And what I like about crises is they prompt change. So right then and there, we wanted something different. And then the next thing that happened is that I found a mentor. I'm on YouTube, just looking up lawn care videos like I always did. I went to YouTube for everything, by the way. It's a great way to learn anything in business. And I saw this guy that was running this company in the States and he was doing a hotel presentation. And there's like 80 technicians in that room. I'm like, man, like this guy's got his stuff figured out. And I aggressively reached out to him. Email, call, LinkedIn, whatever it took to get a hold of the guy and beg for an hour of his time where I could just learn. If I could learn one thing from you, like it would help set me up so much. I'd appreciate that so much. And what I love about the lawn care industry, especially, is that people are so generous with their time and their information. You reach out for someone to help, a lot of people will take the time to say, yes, I'll give you a hand. Let's see if you can go through. So I jump on a call with this guy and loved what I heard, kind of sold him my story. And he said, you know what, I do some mentoring, I do some coaching. This is the price. I'm very serious though. This is going to be very intense and it's a 1-year commitment. Will you do it? And I put everything on hold. I'm like, yes, I want to learn from the best. Liam, we need to do this. If at worst, we'll learn a lot and not get anywhere. At best though, it will completely change our business. So we went in there and he taught me everything I knew. And I still owe that man like a lot of stuff that we learned there too. So find a mentor where we could just break down the ignorance tax. Huge.
Yeah, for sure. Could you afford that mentor at that time?
No. But you know what I couldn't afford? To stay the way things were.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Like Alex Ramosi says, if you're not making $1 million a year, take whatever you're making right now. So let's say 50 grand a year. It's costing you $950,000 a year to not know how to make $1 million. That is expensive. Paying $2,500 USD a month for coaching is cheap compared to that. Like, you need to pay off the ignorance tax. And when you're small, you might not have a lot of money, but you have nothing to lose. You've got to figure things out because it's what you don't know yet. That is the reason that is why you're not growing right now. It's not a lack of information. It's just, and you might figure that out. Don't get me wrong. Could we figured out what we knew over 100-year span? Sure. But I have no idea how long I'm going to live here. And I want to have that bank account at an embarrassing amount for the next 40 years. Let's figure this out now. So we made it work. We took sacrifices, financial sacrifices. We didn't go into debt to make it happen, but we definitely we really kept things lean and tight as much as possible. And trust me, every penny we spent on learning, especially on the early side of things, has paid off in 20 time multiples.
Yeah. So I just seen Alex's last post, and he said the average age that Americans pass away at, or adults pass away at, is 74.2 years old. So how much time do you really have? So if you're 40 years old, you're over the halfway mark already. So you don't have that much time. So at what point are you going to go all in?
Yeah. On the way here, I could have been hit by a bus. Like, my car could have just been totaled and stuff. You don't know how long you've got. So you don't live your life like you have all the time in the world to figure things out. And I like when people ask me for, like, you know, the quote unquote, what's the one tip you have for an entrepreneur, someone think about starting? I got to say my number one thing is you need to start now, because over time it will get harder and scarier. Life happens. You know, we get married, we have children, and as we start to amass things, we start to build up things that we're scared to lose. More to lose.
We're not born with fear, right? Like, you're not born fearful of anything.
I think just loud sounds and heights or something like that. It was just two basic things.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So, all right, walk us through that process. Like, what does coming up look like for you, James?
Okay, so for us, the big thing you told us was, tell me about all the services you're doing right now. And we listed them all out for them. And he was saying, you know what? Snow removal. You guys are doing snow removal, really? I'm like, yeah, we're in Canada. It snows here quite a bit. He's like, you got to ditch it. Like, what the hell do you mean I got to ditch it? He's like, you're a lawn care company. You are not a snow removal company. Like, yes, snow removal might be okay to get going, to get your feet off the track, but do you want to build a lawn care empire here? Get rid of everything that's not lawn care. And dude, that was scary, because like that was a significant part of our income. And we're in Canada, where we only do lawn care services where I am May 1st and September 30th. That is 5 months of making money, and you got to justify the entire rest of the year. So that was terrifying. But he's like, let's look at your vehicles. Man, you have a lot of dents on those trucks. There's a lot of smashes on those. I'm like, yeah, because we hit a pillar when we're plowing snow. Oh man, you're paying a lot for those trucks, aren't you? Yeah, we have to get 3/4 tons and all-wheel drive, because we got to be able to hold a snowplow and go. Oh, your technicians, you have terrible churn. Your technicians are quitting left, right, and center. I'm like, yeah, because snow removal sucks. You're up all night. You can't make any commitments with friends and family because you're always blowing off on them. And, you know, like all these things lined up to saying, okay, I understand what you're saying, but how can I actually make this happen? He's like, you really should be focusing on, you do your lawn care season. And whenever you're not in your peak lawn care season, you're focusing on, how do I make my lawn care season better next year? So how do you, in the off season, how do you increase your close rates? How do you get higher ROI in your marketing? How do you get more lawns done with less trucks, less people? How do you get more lawns done in a day? How do you build your route density? How do you just get more lawn care customers? And he really helped us think about, okay, you can make a lot of money at anything, but you cannot make money at everything. You got to pick. And to decide is the Latin word to actually cut off. It's to stop doing things. So we decided to go all in on lawn care. It was very scary, but the Grant Cardone says the riches are in the niches, and it's very true. McDonald's isn't selling steaks. McDonald's isn't selling smoothies, but you know what they do? Hamburger, fries, and shakes. Go look at Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A's got like 8 things on their menu, but they are dominating the fast food industry in North America. And people love paying $8 for a chicken sandwich because it is damn good. And you go there's a line every single time in that drive-thru, but they are not trying to sell broccoli. You know, they are not trying to be the best, burrito, but they know their chicken sandwich game good. And I think a lawn care business is like, you got to focus in on what you're truly going to be. You might want to be just a mowing company. I respect that. No problem at all. but then just be a mowing company. Learn how to be the best mowing company. So there's no questions when price comes up, you can say, well, yeah, of course we're charging that. Look at my reviews. Look how we are great. We are the number one choice. We only take on people that just do $70 a mow, things like that. So yeah, game changer. Find that mentor, man.
Yeah, that's incredible. And I couldn't agree more. We did the same. Like, you and I talked. We were doing all services too. And like, no, when we start, we're going to do this over again. Pick 2, pest control, fertilization, weed control, and run.
So we cut down our services by 80%. And then the next year we tripled in revenue. And that was scary. Way less services, more revenue. And guess what? Now that you are specifically just doing a few services, you can actually start to track what it's costing you to get those done. So good luck to figuring out your COGS, like your materials, gasoline and stuff. When you're doing all these different services, you have no idea where your money's going. And the way we did our accounting for the first 5-6 years, I call it feel good accounting. Hey, James, can we afford to buy that truck? I look at the bank account. I think so. There's money in the bank right now. Little do you know, those are prepayments for jobs that you still have to go pay for the materials for. Like, you don't know what's going on when you're doing everything. So if you really want to dial in, you can only do a couple of things. You just can't manage everything.
Yeah, for sure. What is your role in the business versus Liam's? Are you guys partners still?
Yeah, so we're still going strong. We're 50-50 partners. Liam, a lot of people say don't go into partnerships. I disagree. Find a good partner, because you got to go through those ups and downs with someone. Like, you got to win with someone, but when it goes low, when things are hard, you need someone to go through it with you. And sometimes, like, your spouse is not that person in particular. Like my wife and I, we talk about lots of things, and she knows what's going on, obviously. But at the end of the day, she's busy at home with children. She's running her own business, essentially. I'm there, and like, I'm the one that gets told that you just lost this contract. You got to be able to do something with it. But then people say, how do you make it work? Because so many partnerships don't work. I think the way to make a partnership work is to find somebody with the same values. So we see things eye to eye on a human being standpoint. We have the same values as character, but your skills are extremely different. That's very important. So many people go into business with their best friends because your interests are the same, your skills are the same, and it's fun to do things together, and that's great. But you just gave up half the company for a second one of yourself, and eventually one of you is irrelevant. So find someone with a very different skill set. So Liam's a mechanical engineer, for example. I have a business marketing degree. 2 very different degrees. Not that I give much credit to our degrees, honestly. We learn everything from doing it and from YouTube, quite frankly. But Liam's very analytical, and Liam's a very good manager. So what Liam focuses on is, like, he's essentially the GM. He's the integrator. He makes shit happen. I'm the chief revenue officer. I focus on marketing and sales, and now kind of the next goal, the next vision for the company. Where are we going to be 5 years from now? Liam, we got to next year. We got to hit $3.2 million. What are we going to do to make that happen? We got to break this down together. And Liam's the guy that makes it happen and holds people accountable. So we work very well together, but we are very different in respect to skills. Values were the same. You talk about almost any political thing that pops up or everything. We see eye to eye on 95% of everything. But when it comes to skills, we honestly really couldn't be all that. We couldn't be more different.
Yeah, that's awesome. You guys went to high school together? You grew up together?
We went to kindergarten, elementary, high school, everything together. We just didn't go to university together, but we grew up one community away from each other. Thing is, we knew about each other. We were colleagues, but we weren't actually friends until grade 12. So it doesn't need to be a lifelong partner and stuff. But like, when you've been around someone for that long, you kind of know who they are. You can trust what you're going to get, essentially. Doesn't mean you're not going to change as people. Like, we're significantly different than we were when we were 18, 19 years old. But that's okay. People change. That's good. You should change.
And do you guys still do any door-to-door?
We don't. And that's not something that I actually want to do more door-to-door. I talked to you and Turf Badger. I'm like, man, you guys are crushing it. Door-to-door is a huge thing for that. But here's how we do our marketing. I kind of break it down into, I'd say there's 3 buckets. Or there's 4 buckets, actually. The first one is SEO. When someone goes, like, if your furnace breaks down today, Jonas, you're going to your phone and what are you doing?
I'm going to type in, I need to fix my furnace, or how do I fix furnace? Or I'm not going to do it. I'm just look for, I'm just go type into Google, look at appliance companies or heating companies and find them one of the best reviews, see who has the best reviews, see how many they got. And I'm just going to click on that button and call that person.
Exactly. So something that people can do at home is you go to something called Google Analytics and you just write in key phrases. So like, for example, a big one for us was lawn care Calgary. You know, people put in the service and they put in the city that they're in. That's a very, very, very popular one. And you got to be the very first guy that pops up on SEO, which means search engine optimization, which is also attributed to your local map pack. So you get that done by having stellar reviews and focusing intentionally on building more reviews. And you do pay an SEO company for all the back end shit that you and I will never be able to figure out without spending a significant amount of time doing white glove stuff. But you pay someone about, it's expensive. It's about probably $1,000 USD a month, but it's worth it in the organic leads you're going to be getting. So number one, SEO, you got to be number one, because number one gets 85% of all the leads. Number two gets like the scraps after that. Number three onwards, good luck. Like, you don't want to be a vulture. You want to be a lion, taking out the full gazelle, eating your share, and then the hyenas come in, and then the vultures come in. You got to be the lion, hence lion share for SEO. The second thing though is Google Ads, because until you can get SEO going, Google Ads are huge, because SEO always goes to number one. It's actually before SEO, but it's very clearly an ad. And some people skip the ads, don't get me wrong, but a lot of people just click the first one that pops up. And that's what Google Ad is. But you got to know what you're doing. If you're not careful, you will spend thousands of dollars not having any leads because you're not tracking it. People are clicking in from India, like different countries that you don't even serve, and you don't want to close these leads. It's very important you know what you're doing for Google Ads. You understand your budgets for that. Personally, we learned Google Ads in-house. So we read the books, we went on YouTube, we just learned things there too, because we didn't want to pay a marketing company to do it. We wanted to understand what's going on here. So SEO, we offload or we outsource. Google Ads, do it in-house. The third thing is Facebook ads. So Meta, when I say Meta ads, I'm referring to Facebook and Instagram. Huge potential.
What's Meta? Let's just go with Facebook.
Yeah. So Facebook ads, essentially, they're very different than Google ads. Think about it. When you did lawn care Calgary or furnace repair Wisconsin, you had companies pop up, but you're not going to Facebook and writing that in. What are you doing on Facebook? You're looking at your friends, your families, cats and tutus, reels. Like you're just winding down. You're wasting time, essentially. You're kind of zoning out for a little bit too. So you need to be actually, for Google, you want to be very professional. You want to be very credible, all the good stuff there too. Facebook, you got to steal attention. You need to be disruptive. You need to hijack attention. So you want to be funny. You got to be captivating. And we personally do that through video. So we'll do crazy things like you're scrolling through, you're watching your cats and tutus, then all of a sudden there's a guy getting hit by a bull. Then it's James flying into the truck with a handful of dandelions saying, don't get wiped out by the dandelions this season, because Yard Dogs will give you $25 off any lawn care program so that your lawn can go from this to this. Check it out. Showing some before and after pictures. And then it goes to the body of the ad where I have a very clear offer. You need a strong hook. The hook is what we use to get someone's attention, disrupt, and hijack what's going on right now. So I hook them.
Same thing on the doors, right? So first thing you do is we're going to hook them real quick. We're going to hook them real quick. First thing we do is knock on the door, give them a good hook so they say, hey, they're paying attention. And if you're really good and you figure out their first name, you say their first name a few times during the pitch, like their ears just ring like a dog. You're like, picture this, a dog's laying on the ground and you say the dog's name, it doesn't move, but what's the first thing that happens? Ears move, right? People are the same way. If you can catch their name. So again, for Facebook, we go with, hey, Green Bay homeowners, or hey, Appleton homeowners. Get that hook right away so they pay attention.
Exactly, because we don't know their name, but you can actually target these ads very specifically geographically, so you can at least call out something in common for them. So, hey, Calgarians, or hey, if you're a homeowner in Calgary, then boom, that get their attention quick because they think to themselves, okay, this is relevant to me. Their name might be their favorite word in the world, but everything that's relevant to them comes in second place. So we hook them in, and then we're going to give them an offer. So we're going to give them some sort of offer because I need to incentivize them to take action now, not think about it later. So it's going to be a promotion that is essentially a lead magnet. Alex Hormozi talks about these all the time in his $100 million leads book. And for those of you that don't know Alex Hormozi, check out his books, check out his podcast. Everything, so many things I learned is from that man.
Yeah, you can go to his podcast, listen to his book.
Exactly. It's all there for free. And trust me, the guy makes millions doing what he's doing, but he has so much stuff there, free content for if you're just getting going or you want to scale where you are. Anywho, so we have our lead magnet. It's a service that we're willing to give very heavily discounted or sometimes even for free to get our foot in the door and sell them our core offer. For example, that might be a free aeration. So a new market, hey, Ryder Dog is giving away a free aeration with the purchase of any lawn care program. People know what an aeration is, and they're willing to actually, that's a significant value. But I know that if we can at least get in the door, we're going to keep our customer for 4 to 5 years on average. So it's worthwhile to give $80 as a service to the customer instead of paying Google $100 for a customer. Because we're paying that money anyways, Jonas. Like we're giving it to Facebook, we're giving it to Google, or how about we give it to the customer? Let's give the value to the customer. So there's my offer. Now I have my body of my ads. We have the hook, then we have the offer, and now we have the body. The body is where I'm talking very briefly about my company. I'm going to let you know how long I've been around. I'm going to brag about my reviews. I'm going to show you some before and afters of my lawns, and I'm going to share some testimonials from real people. They're very quick, 20 seconds. Dawgs Lawn Care, 1,100 5-star Google reviews. Calgary for the past decade. Here's some before and after their photos. Like we're trusted. There's no risk going with us. And last but not least, and perhaps one of the most important ones, a clear call to action. What do you want that person to do after watching this video? Do you want them to go to your website? Do you want them to call you? Do you want them to submit the form right there on Facebook? It doesn't really matter what you pick, but you've got to only pick one thing. So many people put 5 call to actions on something and the person doesn't even know what to do. It's like, okay, do you want me to call you? Do I walk to you? Do I send you a letter? I'm not super clear what to do. And the second people get confused, they keep scrolling. Or it's too hard, keep scrolling. So keep it very clear. But those Facebook ads, awesome way to get a lot of leads, especially during your lawn care tsunami. Lawn care tsunami is just a peak of when all your leads come in. So there's a period of time, for us it's April, May, and June, where there's so many leads, we struggle to keep up with them. But that's only a very short window. It's a tidal wave. It's a tsunami that hits you, then it's gone. So you got to be ready to hit them up as soon as possible. The fourth and final thing that we do for marketing, Jonas, is brand. Got to build a brand. And this is something that happens over time. This is not something you do overnight, but little things really matter when you add them all up together. So for example, when a truck goes to your house, when we started, we had a rusty old 1995 Toyota Previa, no muffler. So you heard us before you saw us. And number one rule of entrepreneurship, start with what you got. Don't get the fancy stuff. You start with what you got. You work out of your parents' garage. Do what you got to do to get going. But once you can afford it, definitely work strong in the brand. So Dawgs, you get the logo, you get the truck, you get the decals. Americans always laugh when I say decals. Decals. No, it's decals.
I didn't know what a decal was.
It's a decal. So you get the decals, you get the lawn signs, you get the uniforms, you get the hats, you get the way that you do your pre-service notifications, post-service notifications, the way you answer the phone. That is Dawgs. Dawgs isn't just some random concept up in the air. Dawgs is the brand associated with how we do everything. So when the technician is at the person's home, the way they walk, the way they talk, the way they don't look at their phone, the way that they do things is Dawgs. And that is the most important thing, especially when it's the homeowner's first impression. Because they saw the website, they saw the reviews, they called us, they chose to give us the credit card and book the services. But the way that truck drives up and that technician now does the work is the company. So you really get tedious about these kind of things. There's a specific way to do the lawn. There's a specific way to knock on the door. There's a specific way to answer the phone. There's a specific way to give a recommendation. These are all things you think out. And over time, that is your brand. That is why people associate a Louis Vuitton purse versus a regular purse with a completely different value. It might be the exact same materials, but Louis Vuitton has built a brand which people will pay 10 times for. And if you want to be a company, be the premium company. Be the most expensive guy in your market. Does never needs to be a race to the bottom. Don't be the cheapest guys. But you can only not be the cheapest guys by building a very strong brand, because doing a good job is what a lot of people say. Dude, that's the bare minimum, Jonas. We should all be doing a damn good job. And everyone says they do the best job, but not a lot of people can't prove it with all the other things brand-wise is what makes you the highest price guy in your market, at least second place price market. Don't be any lower than that. You can't just charge the price and expect to get away with it. You need to deliver. Great service, great customer service, great everything associated with your brand. It is probably one of the least talked about things that has probably the highest leverage at the end of the day. They think they see Dawgs, they see my competitor. Maybe the lawns are exactly the same, but for some reason they choose one or the other. And a lot of that has to do with how they perceive the company, AKA the brand.
Have you ever read the book Unreasonable Hospitality?
No, I haven't. Tell me about that.
I think you should. It's basically all that talks about is brand. It's by Will Guidara.
Unreasonable Hospitality.
I think it's called 11 Park in Madison. Don't quote me there. I think that's what his restaurant's called. He started a restaurant, and they were like the number one restaurant in the world. So it was like a 3-star Michelin restaurant. And he did it within like 3 or 4 years. But he talks about the process, like how he broke down every single step, every single touch point to the customer, did things like, here's a good example. They're at like a 5-star or a 3-star Michelin place, right? And he heard one of his customers say the only thing that they didn't do on this trip to New York was get a famous hot dog or whatever. Maybe Chicago, didn't get a Chicago dog. They went out back, they went to this stand, they got a dog, they brought it back, they cooked. He's like, tell the chef, he's like, hey, like, just trust me on this one, right? He's like, let's cook this, make it very special. Brought him out a hot dog because they just by listening, right? Little things that they did like that, that make that place even more special that people want to come back to become like a 3-star Michelin. So it's going over every single touch point from every customer interaction to how you answer the phone, talk to technicians, what you wear, what you're wearing pre-service, what you're wearing during service, things like that. Like it separates you all from the rest of the companies around. So this book like walks you through it. It's awesome.
Dude, I'm going to check that out right after this. But long story short, there's no silver bullets. There's just a ton of golden BBs. Hermosi says that all the time. It's the 100 little things that you do that make your brand. And guess what? You cannot figure these things out when you're out plowing snow in the middle of the night. You cannot figure these things out when you're out doing the work all by yourself. You can only figure these things out when you take the time to reflect on how do we actually answer the phone? I'm going to cold call my own company right now and listen to what the heck's going on. You might be shocked at how different each person talks on the phone. And by default, people are doing what they think is best. No one trying to mess you up, but if they're doing what they think is best, you all of a sudden have 5 or 10 different ways things are going, and you're leaving things up to chance. It's about being meticulous with these things. Everything, every word, every tonality, it all needs to be followed by a formula. Yes, you have people's personalities, and yes, you give them some flexibility to let their true self shine. Don't get me wrong, but don't let the little things be up to chance. There's a right way and a wrong thing to do it. And to win in business is about just doing enough right things in a row.
I love that. Like what does UPS do? Like something that's so simple that people probably don't catch. And I get there's probably many reasons they do it. What does UPS keep in their trucks at all times? You know, they have dog treats, right? It's the little things. And do they do that so they don't get attacked by dogs? Maybe. But do they do that so they can, if they see a dog, like a friend of the dog, they're just going to give it a treat. It's simple things like that you pick up on. I'm like, I get it now.
It's kind of like having lollipops in the truck for the customers' kids.
Absolutely.
Things like that.
Absolutely. It's the little things like that separate your brand from everyone else. And are they willing to pay 10, 15, 20, 50, 100 more dollars for your service? Absolutely, all day long.
And by doing so, by UPS charging for that, they can now pay their drivers 6 figures a year. Like they can pay their drivers well. And now those guys truly care about their work. They adhere to the core values. And all of a sudden you're winning. You're charging the most. People are in line to work for you. But that can only happen when you're charging the right price. And to charge the right price, you better have a damn strong brand.
I agree. And then like you said earlier, like I think it's number 1 captures 80% of all the leads. And they're also charging in the top 10% or more than every single person in your industry in your specific area. And there's a reason for it.
Like a good service is expensive. Don't get me wrong. But you know what's even more expensive? Getting bad service and having to redo it. Or getting bad service and doing things yourself. Like people aren't buying lawn care services because they can't do it themselves. What we do, I'm not going to pretend like it's super fancy because it's not. See, people could do it themselves, but guess what? They don't want to. They want to come home from work and enjoy a beautiful lawn with their family. They're busy. They have 1,000 other things to do when they get home. And lawn care just does not want to be one of those things. So they hire us to get it done. And if we mess up, if we don't deliver, they now have to take it into their own hands. We've messed everything up. Them even having to call to get something fixed, even though yes, we'll get it done right. Even that is friction though. They want to hire it and never think about it again. And if you do a great job and have enough communication, not over communication, but enough communication to keep them in the loop, they will stay a customer for life and they'll just pay what it takes to get it done because you don't get them headaches.
I couldn't agree more. What is the licensing like in Canada? Is it hard? Because I remember again, we talked about this, I remember I had friends in Canada before, so that you can't use certain products. You can't use a lot of things over there. So people always had issues with the weed. So is it different there? Can you get all the same products we get here?
No, it's very, very, very different. So you guys in the States, the land of the free, you guys have access to a lot of really good stuff. Canada, they're way more strict. Canada, like Environment Canada, Canada Safety, way more strict on what you can use. And now it does vary province to province. So even like next door in British Columbia, they can't use a fraction of the things that we can use. But the guys in Saskatchewan beside us, they can use more stuff than we can use. So like you kind of have a little bit of everything. It's more so provincially regulated, even though the federal government has their hands in things. But a big one that gets jaw droppers from all y'all in the USA is we can't use pre-emergence. So when someone's like, what do you use for pre-emergent? I'm like, nothing. What do you mean? It's like, we can only use in Alberta, I can only use post-emergent weed control. So crackgrass, crabgrass, nutsedge, that's just a part of life here. And what you do is that you just tell the person, listen, there's nothing I can legally use to kill it beside Roundup, and obviously that's going to kill everything. So we have to focus on making the lawn as green and healthy as possible. And I'm a huge advocate for the least amount of pesticide usage as possible. So to do that, we do need a minimum amount of herbicide to get things under control. There's no denying that. But let's focus on making the grass as green, healthy, and thick as possible so we can naturally choke out all the things that aren't supposed to be in our market Kentucky bluegrass. Let's just do everything it takes to really make it as thick as possible. So it's a gym membership here. Someone can't just sign in, I want one application of weed control. I'm like, okay, no, we don't do that. But what we do is put you into a program, and it might take a year or two actually to get really where we need to be with your lawn. But we're in this together. We're going to make this happen. I'm going to tell you all the things that you're doing right and wrong. Most people cut their lawns way too short. So we got to educate people on how to cut their lawns properly, how to water their lawns properly, things that they can do, but also things that we can do to really make sure that their lawn is the nice one on the block and it looks fantastic. And once you have a really nice lawn, it is way easier to maintain and keep a lawn beautiful than to make it go from dry, brown, yellow, crusty, and compact as hell to a beautiful, luscious oasis. But once you're there, maintaining that physical body is way easier than losing the first 50 pounds that you need to.
Yeah. Are you liquid there or are you granular?
We're a granular fertilizer and liquid weed control. I have a lot of pros and cons of both, honestly. I'm very open to liquid fertilizers. It's just at the start, that's the direction we took, but I'm always going back and forth between logistically, what are the pros and cons? So definitely looking at all different options for the future, but right now we are granular fertilizer.
And are you guys using push spreaders? Do you guys have ride-ons or both?
Just push spreaders. We use Lesco push spreaders here. Believe it or not, our average lawn is 2,000 square feet. That is it. Very cookie cutter. So the smaller the lawn, the actual better. Some people are like, you got to get into the acreages, you got to get into the commercial. And I say, hell no. Residential lawns, 2,000 square feet, and we're going to do 40 of those a day per truck. Things like that is how we are going to build our business. That is our model. You can make money in acreages, but again, you should then only do acreages because all of your equipment is set up for the acreages. Acreage owners are very different than a residential single family detached home in Calgary. It's just a different person. It's a different lawn. So no, we just focus on, we have the sprayer truck from the truck to the hose. And then we have spreaders for different products, whether we're doing fertilizer, super juice, sea kelp, all that kind of good stuff there.
Cool. I love that. And then, so it's you and Liam, and then how do you start to scale up? Like, how did you learn to delegate, things like that? It's a question I get asked more often. Like, how did you learn to delegate? What did you do to delegate things?
There's a great book I read called Sales Management Simplified. The best line in the book is talking about something called the hero complex. So us as the entrepreneur, we started wearing every single hat. We are the top person, sales, customer service, operations, human resources, etc. As you get big, though, you start to realize you only have so much time and you only have so many skills that your natural God-given abilities. So like Jonas, like you might be able to learn how to be an awesome Latin speaker, but someone out there can just pick up way quicker. They know 7 languages like that. Your job as an entrepreneur is not to do everything. Your job is to solve problems by building a team. So the hero complex talks about you think you're the hero, but the true hero actually just makes other heroes. The genius is in finding other geniuses to work at your company. So it's an ego hit. A lot of people cannot let go to the fact that, I need to be the guy that closes those jobs. I need to be the guy in customer service. I need to be the guy at the lawn for the customer to see. But the truth is, somebody out there can do it a lot better for you, and they're happy to take an hourly wage or a salary to get it done. Because not everybody's meant to be an entrepreneur, and that's okay. That's actually a very good thing. They're looking for a job, and they are damn good at servicing a lawn, or they're phenomenal at sales on the phone. So as an entrepreneur, you need to identify where are your strengths and where are your weaknesses. And the first thing you want to delegate out are the things that you suck at and the things that just take so much more effort for you. Like we all think about back to class. There's always that one. So for example, I was good at math and sciences. I really was not good at English and social studies. But there's always that one girl in the class who's so freaking good at Shakespeare. She like on multiple choice, I see all 4 answers are exactly the same. But she can tell you the difference one. That is the girl you want to be on your English assignment test. So first of all, if you suck at customer service, let's say you're a little hot-headed, you're getting a little bit impatient, you got to kind of want to move on because you're used to like the fast sales, you should probably go find someone that's very nurturing, understanding, problem solver on the customer service team and look relentlessly for that person. And when you find them, pay them well. You know, like we spend so much time sometimes taking a chance on someone that it doesn't really stand out. And there's nothing wrong with hiring fast, but you need to hire fast. So you need to fire fast too, because sometimes you can do all the due diligence to find the right person. You should definitely take your sweet time to find the right person. But at the end of the day, you got to roll the dice. You can't know everything from the person, and you got to hire them on. And what's really bad for a company are good people. In Good to Great, they talk about this. You need great people at your company. Bad people's no problem because it's very clear who the bad people are. And you know, this isn't going to work for you. Like this isn't the best company for you. You're not the best person for us. Those are easy to identify and let go. But the good people are what kill you. They're good enough. They do their job. Never above, but never under, kind of whatever. But they're always doing the bare minimum. Those people will keep you at an average company. You need to find great people, and it takes time and it takes money to do that. But you delegate where you're weakest at first, and then eventually you get to the part where a lot of things are delegated, but you're still in the way. We talk about bottlenecks in business. We talk about constraints. Usually the constraint is right in the mirror looking at you. You are the problem. And you need to step out. You need to write down a process. You need to document what you do that actually works. So we use a learning management software called Trainual. Really, really awesome way to kind of keep all your stuff together, to get your standard operating procedures in place. But you need to get that out of your head, get onto paper, and you need to present that. You need to get it in front of people and really put them through the proper training to get things done so you can identify very quickly, are they your guy or not? And you need to get out of the way. And it's once you step out of the side and start to build a company, all of a sudden, having a whole bunch of people that can do things 80% as good as you is way more scalable than you having to do 100% of everything because you're the best at it. But before you know it, you're working 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. Your spouse resents you. You have never seen you're missing Thanksgiving. You're missing Christmas. You never see your kids because you're a slave to your business. And so many entrepreneurs become slaves to their businesses. And that's probably the exact opposite thing that they wanted when they started.
Absolutely. I love that. Let's fire all of it. Thanks for that. What is your take on TikTok and YouTube? What's your strategy there? Do you have one yet?
I don't. So the thing for us is that, okay, my rule is I don't use them. You should not have TikTok using it if you're there too. Treat social media like a drug dealer. You distribute, but you don't consume. I think it's an exception to long form YouTube. Long form YouTube, you got a specific problem. Yes, you go watch those videos. I'm a little bit on the fence with this one because what's nice about Facebook ads, for example, I can choose where they go. And YouTube, I know to an extent you can do that. I have not had success, nor have I really tried doing the TikTok, YouTube stuff for getting customers in our door. So I wouldn't be the guy to speak on that. But you really have to make sure that you have a way to filter out the people that aren't in your market so you're not paying for those eyeballs. And I realize when it's organic content, that can go anywhere, but you got to know your intention with things there too. So for example, like, Turf Badger, you guys are expanding different markets. The bigger you get, the more relevant this kind of organic content becomes for you. And you got to start somewhere. Don't get me wrong. You want to start before you're ready with everything. But don't deny that so many people are on TikTok, so many people are on YouTube. But don't just make sure you know who you're trying to get as a customer. You're not getting the 18-year-old. You're trying to get the person that has a homeowner, so probably age 35 or higher. You want to make sure they're qualified. But I would just make sure you know exactly what you're trying to do on those platforms. And before you get into those ones, really master one or two. So before you even dabble with YouTube and TikTok, I'd really recommend figure out Facebook. Figure out Facebook ads. Figure out your SEO. Figure out Google ads, because those are the tried and true ones, at least in our industry. I know that's changing. That's changing every day. But I know those tried and true, at least for now.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you 100% on all that too. Like I said, Facebook and Google are where it's at for sure. But you have to be on YouTube, TikTok just to be there for, again, we're going at scale. So we want to be known everywhere, not just in our local market. But when we're spending marketing dollars, we're not spending our marketing dollars there either.
Oh yeah, I think one of the next biggest ones is going to be knowing how to leverage like ChatGPT. If somebody goes to ChatGPT and writes down what's the best lawn care company near me, who's determining what's popping up there? I'd start to jump and figure that part out. Like, how do you actually now rank SEO wise on these AI things when people are typing them in? Because, like, believe it or not, I'm actually seeing more and more common. People aren't Googling things anymore. They're just asking ChatGPT. They're just asking Casper or Jasper, whatever the other ones are called. They're just asking those AI softwares what to do now. So, hey, that's probably going to be the next big thing. Not right now, but in the future. So I'd definitely keep that on your radar to make sure you're ranking there too.
Super awesome. I know you said that you guys want to expand over the next 5 years. What does your expansion look like? I know you and I talked about offline separate, but
yeah. So we want to hit $10 million within 5 years here. And we have to hit certain sales goals to make that happen, but we have to retain our customers at the same time. There's no point in selling someone if they're going to leave you next year. So making sure that we always dial in. I want to know every year how many people are canceling. And if they're canceling, is it their first year with us? Do they have a certain type of program? You got to figure those things out because there's probably something going wrong that you don't know that you need to figure out. You have 100 customers come in and you have 50 go out the next year. You have to go resell 50 just to get back on the same page you had last year. So knowing sales numbers, knowing how to sell, knowing how to retain people. But next year, we're planning to do Edmonton, Saskatoon, and Red Deer. So those are 3 additional cities. 3 of those are in Alberta. The next one's in the province over from Saskatchewan. We're going hard. We are not messing around. And those 2 branches, we're going to keep them as lean as possible. We're going to keep them. It's all about finding the right person for those ones. So we're going to take a very dear, sweet time to figure those out. You and I have a lot to talk about door-to-door because I think it's going to be a pivotal strategy in those new markets. But we want to be Canada's number 1 lawn care company. And we want to do that quickly. We're not here to do this over 30 years. We will do it over 30 years, but we want to be growing as smartly as possible. But we're young, we're ambitious. The older we get, the more we're going to have to lose. We are very hungry to get this done. So we have aggressive expansion plans, but never at the compromise of our service and our customers. Like, I would rather be the best lawn care company in one city than that 3rd place guy in 5 cities. Like, don't get me wrong. I want to build a business that I'm proud of and a business that like when people see my brand, they think, oh yeah, that is the company. That is the guy. But I do think that you don't have to actually choose one or the other. It's possible to do both, but you got to have the best guys in your weteam. I'm very proud of the team we have here. We've had a lot of people kind of grow with us. We've had a lot of people come in a little bit later on, but we're very careful who we hire here. You got to stick to, we have 5 core values that we make no compromises for. And we hire and fire based on the core values that we have. So everyone here, they have different skills, but it comes down to what are the character traits that I know if we're having good times or bad times, I can count on you and you can count on me because we got each other's back. One big thing though, that we were talking about a lot about marketing, there's no point getting all these leads though if you don't know how to sell. So knowing how to sell is crucial because you might be great at marketing, but if you can't close the person, you're wasting your time. A big thing that I talked about in Iowa when I was with you there, Jonas, is that you got to know how to sell. And a big part of those is only a couple of things that you really need to do very well to be able to sell. But the number one thing, more important than your script, more important than your tone, even more important than your pricing, is how long it takes you to call the new lead. So I call it speed to lead. Someone submits a form. How long is it going to take you to call that person, reach out to that person? You wouldn't believe how many people take a day, 2 days, 4 hours to call those leads. No. I'm talking 30 seconds or less. Because guess what? They submitted that form on their phone right here, and they're still on their phone. After 30 seconds, a minute, 5 minutes even, they're on to the next thing in their lives. And they submitted that form on your website and 2 of your competitors' websites. Whoever calls them first has the highest likelihood by far of closing that person if they know what they're doing. So speed to lead. In your office, do you have a very consistent way to get notified when a new lead comes in? And your sales team, are you doing round robin where you're just being fair, passing those leads back and forth? Hell no. It is first come, first serve. Yard dog, eat yard dog. Like, we are going hard at this. Every single person's got a smartwatch that notifies them. Like, this is new lead. And we got in the office, it is fun now. They're like, yo, new lead, who's got it? Like, you got to be able to call that lead right away. So if you're on the phone, you can't take that lead. You have rules, obviously, to make this happen. But dude, if I could, I'd make these watches like tase you when there's a new lead coming in. I can't legally do that, nor would I. But it'd be kind of like, hey, we need to hit home. There's a new lead. We need to call this person ASAP. So let's be open longer hours than the average lawn care company. Let's call people way quicker than the average lawn care company. Let's be open on Saturdays and the weekends. Let's be open on the weekends during our lawn care tsunami. Because in lawn care, you have that tsunami that hits you where all the leads come in at once, everybody calls you at the same time, and then it goes dead. So get all those people captured as quickly as you possibly can, and speed to lead is the number one way to do that. You'll double your close rates if you double how quickly you call someone without changing your script, changing your call, changing the pricing, just changing how quickly it takes you to call someone.
Yeah, I think they said that 80%, over 80% drop off rate after 1 minute of not returning phone calls is wild.
And these leads are getting more and more expensive. Google ads get more expensive every year. Facebook leads get more expensive every single year. SEO, like the prices are not going down, guys. They're only going up. So don't waste money getting leads and not being able to close them. Make sure you have a way to close them. That means having extra salespeople during your tsunami. That means just really focusing on answering these phone calls, never missing. If we miss a phone call, the number one metric, probably the biggest metric downstairs that I have zero tolerance for is we missed a call and someone was available. If we were all on the phone, we were all busy, and then a phone call and we missed it, hey, I guess we could use more seats in here, or maybe that was just a one-off. But if someone could have answered the phone and they didn't, that is very, very, very bad. That one needs to be at zero all the time.
I feel the same way. We've talked about that offline too. Just one of my number one pet peeves, like get a missed call. So frustrating. But I know what it's like to be the other person on the other end calling someone. What business doesn't answer their phone? You know what I mean?
So many don't go call the businesses around for whatever services. So many people don't answer their phone. Some, they don't reply to your texts and emails. But when they do that, it is unreal. I remember way back when there was an accounting software. I don't know if they're still around, but it's called FreshBooks. I think QuickBooks Intuit bought them. But FreshBooks was unreal. I called them, rang answer. And every time I call them, ring answer, and they start, hey James, how's it going? I'm like, the hell? You're just like a bookkeeping software. You know me by name and you're answering the first phone call. I really liked that. And guess what? I was paying them more than most other softwares were offering. People are forgetting about this customer service experience. Like, you call your bank and you go to these IVR menus that goes 10 different ways. Dude, me having to call you is already like an inconvenience. Just answer the phone, subscribe me a lawn care program, take my credit card, and if I never call you again, the lawn's green, you're actually doing a good job. The less you talk to me, the better. So dial that in. Answer that phone when it rings. Don't miss your calls and be available as often as possible. And if you're the guy always doing that as an entrepreneur, yes, you will go crazy. You can probably only do that for a couple years before you get burnt out. Build a team. Build a team around you. Use remote reps. Do what you got to do to really do speed to lead. It is the biggest game changer in sales.
Love that. What's the vision look like, James?
You know what? I love this industry, especially for the people. Like the lawn care is great, but the people that I meet in this industry is phenomenal. We're going to be Canada's number one company, and in 5 years, we're going to be at $10 million in revenue. A bigger metric than that, though, because I realize that might sound sexy to me, but I'm like, but what does it matter for my employees? What's in it for them? I'm still figuring out this goal, so don't quote me on this, but I want to see at least 10 homeowners at my company in the next 5 years. I want my employees to own homes, because that is a goal that a lot of people have in their lives. And a lot of people, you see mortgage rates right now, you see prices going up. People feel like it's unheard of, it's untapped potential. I know that everyone wants a different kind of home, like not one home fits everyone, but everybody wants to be a homeowner. If you are a homeowner, long story short, at the end of when you get to 65, you will have something of equity that's going to really help you, get to the end essentially. And to get that, we got to get people in homes. So we're looking to right now developing a full first home buyer plan matching program, things like that, to really get people incentivized to want to win with Yard Dawgs. If only Liam and I win, that's what's the point? I'm not going to have people on board. But if we're going to be Canada's number one company, I cannot do this alone. Liam and I can't do this alone. We need great people. And to have great people, they need to win too. When we open up these branches, it's not going to be just Liam and James on 100% of it. No, I want to see profit sharing. I want to see cash distributions. I want as many people as possible to win with us. Otherwise, I should just be doing my own one. I'm my own single person selling for something like too. No, we're building a business, and there are a lot of people in this business. I want everybody to win. So number one lawn care company, And then my second goal is to be the number one lawn care company in Wisconsin. No, just kidding.
I love it. Let's go.
Take you on.
I love it. Last question of the day. What are you most proud of?
I am, there's a couple of things. I'll start on like what am I most proud of, like when in my own personal life, and then what am I most proud of, like when it comes to like the companies. My own personal life is I'm proud of the fact that, I've been married 6 years now. We're expecting our fourth in December. I'm very proud of my family. I'm very proud of like, what's really cool about entrepreneurship is like you actually do get to make the terms, and I'm proud to still be married. I'm proud to have children. I'm proud to be home and spend time with them. I'm very proud of like the family life that my wife and I have been able to create because we were very intentional with how we ran our business. I'm very proud of that. My kids are growing, like my oldest is in kindergarten. So she just started. I'm very proud of her, but I'm proud of like the home family life that we have there. We're Catholics, we're Christians, but we're very proud of like our faith and our life that we have there too. So I'm proud of what I'm doing outside of work. So that's where I'd say I'm most proud of there too. Comes to work though, I'm so proud of the people that started at this company as a technician or as a salesperson. They've worked their way up. Nothing makes me more pumped than seeing like people grow as the company grows. That's what I'm talking about. Our operations manager, Nathan, right now, he started as a lawn care technician and he did that for 2 years and became the service manager. And then he grew and he grew and he got better. We didn't just give him the promotion because he was around longer. No, he got better. So he had more skills and now he just got married and now like he's building a life for himself and he actually has a career. He's on a year-round salary, even though we're working 5 months a year. I'm proud of that. I'm proud of paying our guys 12 months out of the year, especially when you have more responsibility. He's taking on more responsibility. He's growing and he's learning. I'm really proud of people that come here and they stay here and they grow with the company. And when I was doing interviews, every year when I do interviews, one thing I've noticed is like even more intriguing than the money and like the benefits and all that stuff, people are attracted to growth. People want to know they're going to a company that's growing because they can start to see a future for themselves. If a company is growing, I can grow too. When someone goes to get a government job or work at a huge company, a huge bank and stuff, nothing wrong with that. But you are a person, you are a number in the system. And what you do might give you a secure paycheck, but it's very hard to make a significant difference with those companies. I think there's no denying that. Come into a small business that's growing fast, yes, you can expect your role to change a lot because the company's going to change a lot, but you do have a say in how things go, and you do have a way to grow with the company. And the earlier you come in, the more that's going to be in hold in the future for you. You're taking on more risk, therefore there's more reward at the end. So I'm proud of the people that have stuck through us, through the goods, the bads, and just growing together the company. I'm super pumped up and proud about that.
Yeah, that's awesome. You're a stud. I can't wait to watch you do over the next 5 years. I know you'll probably surpass that $10 million mark, knowing you. But thanks for just taking the last hour with us and spending time with us today. And thank you for your friendship. It's been a fun run already. It's only been a month.
I've had a blast. No, thank you so much, Jonas. If anyone wants to hear more about what I have to say, I do have a YouTube channel, just my first name, last name, just James Szojka there too. I talk about a few things that were going on there too. I'm not as active as I always am on it there too. I have different seasons for it, but man, Jonas, thank you for this opportunity, man. Like Turf Badger, you guys are doing awesome stuff. This podcast, I'm very blessed to be on. And man, I can't wait to see what the conversation might look like 5 years from now. But let's do this again.
It's going to be wild. All right, buddy. Talk to you soon.
See you later.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to another episode of Pest Control Millionaire. We don't charge any money for the show, obviously, but the podcast isn't free. You can pay for the podcast by sharing it with your friends and your family. So please like and subscribe and give us a 5-star review on your favorite podcast app. These things make a huge difference for us. If you have any specific questions you want answered about the business or your life by me or my guest, send an email to info@pestcontrolmillionaire.com. And if you want to get in touch with me about any personal business coaching, check out our website at www.pestcontrolmillionaire.com. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you guys again on the next one.